Hi and welcome to Cheekyricho Cooking's Keto Pork Scallopini with mushrooms. This is totally grain free and it's really delicious. The first thing that we're going to do is turn our non-stick pan onto a medium heat, add some oil and fry off our mushrooms. Put a bit of pepper in there, with salt in there. Our crushed garlic goes in as well. And just give this a stir around. We need this to cook right down, and we're going to remove it from the pan and pop it back into that bowl, and I'll show you how we prepare our pork. Now we've got some coconut flour here, to which we are adding our onion powder, pepper and vegetable salt. Mix it all around. And we've got our pork sliced very, very thinly. Now this is grain free. If you're not worried about following the keto regimen, then you can use just normal flour if you like, or gluten-free flour. Now, this is stir from time to time. We want it to colour up and not burn, because that garlic will get quite bitter if it burns. Alrighty, now this is our pork here. I've cut it very thinly, and what we're going to do is we're going to dredge our pork with our coconut flour. So it's really quite thin little medallions, and that'll give us a nice crunchy crust that's totally grain and gluten free. We're frying that in butter and continue with the rest. Just stirring our mushrooms from time to time. Don't double these up, because the coconut flour will stick to the pieces on top and interfere with its coating capabilities. You can see how really thin this is. You could ask your butcher to do this, or use a very sharp knife. Slicing meat thinly is much easier if it's slightly frozen. Now as you start to cook the mushrooms, they will absorb all of that oil. The more cooked up they become and the more moisture they release, that oil will come back out of the mushrooms, and you'll get some lovely colour on that. Can you see that? Nice and brown. I've got no problem with eating raw mushrooms, but in this dish we want to have some nice sort of umami flavours in it. Only 6 mushrooms there, chopped up into quarters or 6, depending on the size of them. Okay. And we've got 2 nice trays of our pork fillet just waiting to be fried off in the butter. Okay, so tip this back out of the pan now. Wipe the edge so it doesn't run down onto the hot plate, and it's in with our butter. Now we're going to fry our pork until it's nice and golden. Chop up our parsley and our lemons. So any pieces of pork, this is just on a medium heat, they're a little bit thicker, cook them first. And that's all the waste you've got with your coconut flour, so it's really quite economical. And we'll turn that over after a couple of minutes and remove it from the pan and do our next batch. Okay, just chop our parsley now. It's fresh from the garden. You can see how incredibly fresh it is. Italian parsley, not the curly stuff. Put that to one side as well. Okay, we're just going to turn our meat over now, and you can see it's got a nice bit of colour on it. Don't overcrowd the pan, because you don't want it to stew, you want it to sort of brown and colour up. Now we're getting our lemon now. Same thing, slice our lemon very thinly. Just fetch those seeds out of there and remove our pork. And put it to one side. Okay, if you find that your crumbs are getting a little bit brown, just wipe them out with some paper towel and replenish the butter. We don't want these crumbs to taste burnt. Okay, we're just going to remove the last of our pork. And we've got some zucchini ribbons here. We're just going to toss those in some oil in the pan. There you go. Wilt them down with a bit of salt. Bit of pepper, a bit more oil. Okay, we've got a little bit of colour, it's wilted right down. We're sitting in some baby spinach now. I'm going to wilt that down some more and make it nice and creamy with some thickened cream. So just turn this over. These are low carb vegetables, they're very good for you, and the cream will just give a lovely flavour to our spinach and zucchini medley. You could put ricotta in here as well if you like. Just sweat that right down, and then we're sending our cream. Okay, that's sweated down nicely. Now send in our cream, and we have a nice creamy sauce to go with the tangy lemon and parsley of our pork scallopini. Now you don't want this to curdle, so just melt that cream, let it mix all the way through, take it off the heat and pop it into a little serving jar. Okay, into our serving jar now. Okay, now we're just going to slide our pork back in, put our mushrooms in around there, put our lemon slices on as well. Okay, we're just going to sprinkle some more lemon juice over the top. Parsley on first. And just squeeze some lemon juice over the top. Now we're going to put a cover on that and just heat it up on a low heat for about 5 minutes or so until that pork is heated through. Okay, after 5 or so minutes this is ready to serve. And there you have it, Cheekyricho Cooking's Pork Scallopini Keto style. Okay, have a little taste, shall we? Of our pork, our mushroom, some of our gorgeous creamy spinach. It's tangy, this is creamy, lovely lemon flavour, and beautiful and tender. Yum. Thanks for watching.